Monday morning. Happy President's Day. I actually forgot to do a slide for that. And that is a big, all right. First of all, this is going to drive me bonkers. I don't know what I did to my hair this morning, but this one piece is not cooperating. So my apologies. Seriously, it's driving me nuts. Anyway, yes, I forgot to do a slide. I was so focused on just some of the other things that I need to do to get coffee time ready. It was a busy week last week and crazy busy day yesterday, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But it took seriously, I blanked that it was President's Day. How could I forget that? So happy President's Day. So for those of you that are off today, hopefully you take some time to rest a little bit, but to also be grateful for all those especially those forefathers that helped create our country. This is going to drive me nuts. Like, what is happening? What is happening? Anyway, good morning. The struggle is real, my friends. Good morning, Roxanne. Good morning, Allie. Anybody else that may have popped in? So I accidentally hit the start button. Okay, so when Eric was here, we would typically hit the start button 2 minutes before 9, so at 8:58 a.m., and that the timer would then count down so that we would start live right at 9 a.m. But when I would click it early, there was a second button I had to push that said go live now. Well, today I had my finger hovering. I had the hovering finger hovering right over the start button at like just a couple seconds before 9. And then I hit it and I was like, oh no, did I just screw up coffee time? I didn't, I guess, because you're here. So good morning. Good Monday morning. We have, my goodness. So first of all, I apologize if you hear a lot of banging and clanging. There's a lot of construction happening around. So literally there's like bang, bang, bang. The house is like shake, shake, shake. It took a while for the lot beside me. Now they're finally working on it. So anyway, I hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope you had a great week last week. I hope you were able to do something fun. Obviously, Valentine's Day, we'll talk about that, but I hope you're able to spread a little kindness and joy into the world. I saw a picture, and I've seen things that are similar, and I'm sure you have as well, where one of them, the one that I had seen years ago, was a picture of like an interstate with just a lot of traffic, and above each car, it had a little thing of, someone is sick, someone is grieving, someone just got bad news, someone's going to a birthday celebration. Like basically everybody in all of these cars have something that's going on in their lives. And sometimes it's not celebratory. Maybe sometimes it's sad. And then yesterday, I also saw another one that was also really poignant. It was like a big, massive, like a business building, office building, maybe it was condos. I don't know. It was just this big giant building. And in each window, it had the same thing of like what was happening to the person that lived in each of those places. And I think when you see things like that and you visualize it a little bit, even though it's just a picture that somebody doctored up, I think it really resonates when you're walking down the street or you're walking in a store or you're walking just to your car in the grocery store, that you don't know what everybody else is going through. And I think we get so desensitized to each other sometimes. And anyway, so it was just a really nice thing. So I hope that over this past week, you were able to do something nice. I was in line at Walmart. I think it was Walmart. And there was a gentleman in front of me, older gentleman, kind of ruffled up jacket, and he had 2 bouquets of roses. And he had like 4 or 5 of the tiny little heart-shaped little boxes of candy, like the little tiny ones. And he had stepped back out of his row, his aisle, I guess, to reach over and grab something like, I don't know, some gum or something. And I pulled my cart back so he would have room to go. And he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, no, take your time. I'm good. So anyway, so he struck up a conversation and he told me he was a pastor at a church and that he was getting the flowers for the women and he was hoping he had enough for the little girls too. And if not, that's why he got the candy. And it was just, I don't know, it was just a really sweet little conversation. And, and I just kind of, as I drove home that day, I imagined, I'm like, you know, I would never have guessed that he was a pastor. And why would I not have guessed that? And it was just because there's a visual expectation of what that person might be wearing that day. And he was just in regular old casual clothes. And anyway, it was just a lovely little moment. Like nothing happened, nothing transpired. I didn't tell him my name. I didn't tell him anything about me. He just told me what he was planning on doing. And he was so giddy with excitement. And he was so worried that the flowers, I think it must have been on Friday maybe, because I was doing the calculation in my head about he was worried about keeping the roses pretty and in bloom and like fresh and bright. In order to be able to give them, I'm assuming, at service on Sunday. So I don't really know, but anyway, it was just one of those little warm fuzzy moments where it was like, oh, you know what, that was a nice stranger to meet. I don't know how the rest of his day went, but he was just so giddy with excitement to be able to give one little flower stem to the people in his congregation, or maybe it was a meeting. I don't know, but I don't know. It just made me happy. It made me feel good because, I mean, I told you before, Valentine's Day will not, has not ever fazed me. I'm not like, oh, I don't have a Valentine. Literally that of all the holidays and the days in the world that you don't have to worry about whether or not I care, that's one of them. Somebody said it, I think even here last week, when you show love and share love and express love every day, then like Valentine's Day it's insignificant. But I do know if Eric was here, I would have still gotten some roses or some flowers. But anyway, so what did you do? You know what, with that, let's kind of go to, actually, let me tell you this real quick. I have my mug today. This is from Elizabeth and Elsie, and I'm Steele. I'm going to go ahead and include Steele in that anyway, maybe or maybe not. But thank you for my mug. They sent me a beautiful little Valentine's Day. I think it was Valentine's Day, right, Elizabeth? It wasn't birthday, right? It was Valentine's Day? I don't know. Anyway, I got this nice little mug, and as you know, I like the kinds with the lids in them. That's very nice. So anyway, so I actually purposefully put the little, did I? Hold on. Maybe I lied. Hold on. Did I lie? Oh, no, I didn't lie. I did it right. God, I'm old. Literally, I can't even figure out the tumbler lid. Okay. Anyway, I did it right. So I put the drink hole here so that if I take a sip, you can be reminded that sometimes you forget that you're awesome. So this is your reminder. So not only will I take that to heart myself, pretend like anyway, for Elizabeth and Elsie and Steele, but this is my reminder to you guys. So, all right, my friends, let's get going with our brewing topics, but glasses go on because eyes are getting worse. Like seriously, they're getting worse. I need to go back. Anyway, all right, here we go. Brewing. Okay, so our brewing topics for today. Today we're going to go back to our normal kind of format. I'm still tinkering around with the idea. I really liked last week being able to dive in a little bit deeper and have a more fully encompassed, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, subject, and that we can really kind of talk about it from different angles and perspectives and just dive a little bit deeper instead of just touching. So we may kind of throw those in intermittently. But at any rate, today we're going to go back to 3 different little topics. First one is, how was your Valentine's Day? Then we're going to talk about when to buy new construction. Just some tips and tricks there. And then some pre-approval tips, again, stemming from real life situations that kind of prompt or remind me of situations, scenarios, whatever, that could be relevant into your situation, or your plan or your new home journey. So first of all, with the Valentine's Day. So for Valentine's Day, there was that piece of hair again. Oh. So for Valentine's Day, like I said, we didn't really do anything. I could really care less about the day. However, I mean, I'm trying, guys, it's hard. I'm trying to do things or attempt, because ultimately I could care less pretty much about like waking up every day, to be honest. But I made myself a very nice dinner. I have, I did some, oh my gosh, your fun stuff's happening over here. I'm going to read your comments here in a second. I told you at the beginning of the year that I had really neglected myself in terms of my own health, because so much of so much of life is really busy and crazy, and so you kind of put it on the back burner anyway. But I was happy, and life was just kind of going, and I had Eric, and so everything was wonderful. But then Eric's situation, once the first episode happened, it just kind of started to trigger. Okay, I need to do something, but there was no time for me. It was all full attention on Eric and trying to get him what he needed when he needed it, and so I decided, okay, well, 2026, I need to go back to the doctor. I mean, I'm a very freckly moly person, so I need to go back and go to a dermatologist. I've always had digestive issues that have been ongoing for 20 plus years that have just got increasingly worse. Obviously depression, stress, anxiety, I'm sure all of that comes into play with everything. But I did do a quick blood panel, and, like, my cholesterol is really, really, really high. So been trying to figure some of those things out. So trying to take care of myself a little bit. So on that note, back to Valentine's, like, oh, this piece of hair. Should I just cut it? Where's my scissors? I've got scissors. Should I just cut it right here? No, I won't. You know what? That's why I was at Walmart. I was like, why was I at Walmart? Because I don't really ever have time to go shopping. That's what it was. I had decided, I was like, okay, well, I don't have a doctor first of all, everything is so virtual now. You just don't feel like there's any care or attention to you as a person or a human or your specific situation. But sometimes that's all you can do. If all you can do is get a virtual appointment, and then they order a blood panel, and you go to the LabCorp and you get it done. And then they're like, hey, your cholesterol's high. You should do something about that. I'm like, okay, well, so I went to the store, and I just, basically got a lot of fruits, got a lot of veggies, got a lot of, dark leafy greens. And I got some salmon. And so that's what I made myself for Valentine's Day. I was going to give you a picture, but I didn't take the picture like as a presentational picture. So it was just first time I actually cooked salmon myself. I've had salmon, but I usually would get it at a restaurant or something. But anyway, so I had some salmon. Honestly, it was so good. I was very proud of myself. And then I did some fresh zucchini and squash chopped up with some rotini noodles. Probably the butter and Parmesan that I put with it. Probably not. That probably took away the health factor, but baby steps. So anyway, all right, let's see what you guys did. Okay, so good morning, Laura Schwartz. I see that you popped in. Mark Malloy, good morning, my friends. All right, let me see where you guys are. Allison, you popped in too. Oh, Arifa, oh my gosh, you guys are all popping in. I missed all of you, but I love you all. So let's see where you guys are. I was asking about what you guys did for Valentine's Day. Jane says she met her daughter's new boyfriend's dad and it went well. That's interesting. Okay. All right. We like that. That's a good one. Elizabeth said, oh, yes, it was a Valentine's Day gift for me, but it could have counted as birthday. Either way, it's fine. It's very sweet of you. Remember? Cheers. You're all awesome. Okay. And then Melody, I was babysitting grandkids, and I am house and pet sitting the sweetest big dog. Oh my goodness. What's the big dog? What brand? What brand is the dog? What breed is the dog? I'm getting old, guys. I'm getting really old. Anyway, love it. I don't know if you guys remember, but we had our dog Lucy. Do you remember Lucy, the big, gigantic, ginormo dog? And there were some problems. She started to be a bit aggressive. She actually, a friend of ours who did not have, Lucy is a one dog family. Lucy did not get along with Penny and Maggie, did not get along with my grand dogs, Jenny and Zoe and Scout, and literally dogs attacking. So this was years ago, and we had to make that decision because our friend was like, I'll take Lucy. I want Lucy. I don't want any other dogs. I just want Lucy. And anyway, so I saw her pop up the other day with Lucy. I don't know where I was. Oh, that's where I was going with that. Anyway, I just saw that picture of her with Lucy, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love to see that Lucy is so happy. She's so happy. she's a big old giant dog, right? We thought she was something that she wasn't. And then she kept growing and kept growing and kept growing. We're like, I don't know that we can handle this big dog. And clearly we couldn't, but obviously we made sure that she was well taken care of. And anyway, so she's having fun. So what kind of dog is it, Melody? Jim says that they had breakfast at the Wilderness Lodge for Valentine's Day. Well, of course you did. If you guys remember, Jim and Cheryl were former clients of mine, built a beautiful home. And honestly, they are such an inspiration for living in Disney's backyard. They are there all the time. I think we did My Cup is Full. It's been months and months ago, but we kind of highlighted them because I love it. Every day if I scroll Facebook, I don't love scrolling Facebook every day, but if I do, I do enjoy seeing that they were out having fun somewhere, doing something. I aspire to live that lifestyle that you guys get to have. But if nothing else, I'm glad that I was some small little piece in getting you to enjoy that lifestyle. So nice. Of course you did. Of course you went and had a special breakfast at the Wilderness Lodge. I love it. All right, let's see what else we have. I got to stop doing that. I've really got to stop doing that. Jane says, Amy, definitely look after yourself. I'm trying. I mean, I'll tell you, there are days that are not good, my friends, but I'm trying. Don't say strong. Don't say brave. Don't say any of those words because none of those are true. No, I'm not resilient. I'm just getting up on Monday mornings and I'm talking to my friends, and this is my little therapy session. So the piece of hair. Like, seriously, guys, what happened? Did this random piece of hair just grow it? Do you remember the baby doll when we were little that you could push the thing in the top of her head and pull her hair out and it would grow? Like, did that happen to me overnight? Anyway, all right, let's keep going. Did it again. It is habit. I am so sorry. Elizabeth said we had fun taking Elsie to the Horizon West Park again and getting some pizza at the Pizza Press down at New Independence. Yes. You know what? I should have added some of those pictures, Elizabeth. I did add one of them, but I think it wasn't the park one. Yeah, Elizabeth, that's right. You guys went to the Horizon West Park again. She's having fun taking Elsie out there and running around getting some fresh air, and I think she met a little friend the other day. And then they went to the Pizza Press, which I love Pizza Press, make your own pizza type place there at Hamlin. Nice. Love, 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 love. Whoa, Melody, 110-pound Doberman. Oh my gosh. Well, give the dog some snuggles and some no face rubs, because that's a big old dog, but I would still snuggle it. It's really funny. If you were to see me in bed at night, it's probably kind of probably not appealing to most if you don't like pets. But my dogs are Penny and Maggie. I have to help them get up on the bed because they can't jump up. Daisy is still young and spry, so she jumps up on the bed. But it's really funny because sometimes Daisy jumps up, and they all sleep kind of at the foot of the bed, right? Except usually in the middle of the night, Daisy jumps down. I think I told you last week, she crawls under the bed, she gets stuck, and then I wake up in the middle of the night and have to kind of pull her out. And then she jumps up, and then she assumes a position like a human. So she just sits on the other side of the bed. Anyway, love dogs and cats. Have my little Molly. Okay. Daryl. Amy, you've been through this. Our son was out with his girlfriend for Valentine's, and our daughter was out with the guy. That's not her boyfriend, but they're talking and like each other. Oh my gosh. So first of all, I know you all feel this about me, especially Daryl and Jen, because we just go back, our whole lives, once we were teenagers. We've known each other and been in some way, shape, or form a part of each other's lives. And so when we had kids, it is so hard. I'm sure it is hard for Daryl and Jen to see my kids grown, to see, them married, to see my girls have babies, to see, Dawson, a junior at college. Like, isn't that crazy? But it compares not to what I think of their two kids. When I think of Javon and Jazzy, they're babies. They're just these sweet, 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 angelic, and very full of light kids. And no, I don't approve. I don't approve, Daryl. So you just tell them that they need to back that up. They need to slow their roll. And you talk about lanes with your kids. I need to get them in the single rider lane, okay? Tell them to get in the single rider lane. I'm just kidding. It is weird, isn't it? Dawson sent me a picture. He sent me, they had like a formal for Valentine's. He sent me that, and that was fine. But then he sent me another pictures like, here's the party we were at the other night, and there's, Dawson with like a, shirts off, and they're like, I'm like, oh my God, this is not, Mimi's heart can't handle this. Anyway, that's crazy, Daryl. I know. Well, hopefully while they were out, you and Jen were able to have a little bit of time, Jim, did I say Jim? Jen. Jim, I know you guys go all the time, and you are just such an inspiration. Jane, tricky situation, Daryl. Yeah. It's just so hard, isn't it? For those of you that have kids that are old enough to, high school, college kids that are out, that are dating, it is a different relationship with them. And it kind of stems from, did you do all the good stuff that you needed to do when they were younger? Because you forget that you don't have all that time to make that impression with your kids. They're babies, they're toddlers, they're learning, but they're not learning that part of life. And then they're in elementary school. That's not even on their radar. There's a very short window when you can talk or guide when it comes to the dating part of adolescence and growing up. But the best thing you can do is be a good example. The way your dad treats your mom, the way your mom treats your dad, the way the dynamic is in the home. Those are the things that I think the kids, and you're not trying, right? You're not going, oh, let me bring my wife roses so that my kids see that and know that that is something that you should do. And maybe it's not Valentine's Day that they bring the roses, right? Or, just any of those. Eric, I mean, again, this is what sucks about grief. You don't know when something is going to slap you in the face. And while I don't love Facebook, but while Facebook exists and I'm indifferent to it, it's a place for me to shove all my photos and for now. But like you'll get the time hop or something, one of those pictures will pop up. So one of them popped up, and it was, I don't know, it was a post I made, and it was like, happy Valentine's Day. Got back in my car after work, and Eric had left me a big thing of roses, and a McDonald's Diet Coke was in my car. And those are the things that kind of slap you. But those are also the types of things. First of all, nobody else would have ever seen that, right? No one else would have known. That was like our little moment. But my kids know. I mean, they would know that he would just go out and he would fill my car up with gas without ever asking. He would just do it for me. Just things like that. The taking care of you, the I don't know, just the walking over and rubbing your shoulders every once in a while because they know you're stressed, or just the random hug. So those are the fun things. I don't know, we got off track again. That's me. But I think that those things that you do just in your day-to-day life around your family, specifically those children, should give you, while you have the other angst and worry that they're growing up and what other things are they getting into and what other things are they exploring and all that adult stuff. One thing you can usually, and I know for 100% clarity, no doubt that Daryl and Jen absolutely provided them that inconspicuous and consistent positive role modeling about how you treat your significant other, but just how you treat people in general. So no worries, Daryl and Jen, you got it. Javon says Javon is very affectionate with her and it's sweet, but you in trouble, dude. Anyway, I know the hard part is like literally, Daryl, right now, how old is Javon? Where were you? What were you doing at that age? It freaks us out. Anyway, okay, moving on. All right, so let's see. The Diet Coke. Yay, the Diet Coke. Oh, I know. I keep meaning to bring you my pajamas. So I really want to show you my pajamas. Anyway, okay, all right, let's move on to our second topic. But yeah, for me, all I did was I made some salmon and some squash and zucchini mixed with some rotini. I think it was like the multigrain rotini. And I was like, maybe I'll have a glass of wine. I don't really like wine, but I had some left over from when like a couple of us had like a miniature glass at Thanksgiving. And then I was like, no, that's probably gross by now. And so I dumped that out. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll open another bottle. And I was like, no, I don't really want it. And then I was like, well, I'll just have a glass of milk. And then I was like, no, I just grabbed Diet Coke. So that was it. I should have taken a picture. I did light my little battery operated candle as I usually eat at my coffee table, to be honest, because again, what's the point? So I was eating there and I had one little candle and I clicked it on. So, and I kind of laughed to myself. I'm like, oh, I'm having my little candlelight, salmon dinner for Valentine's Day for a table for one. But it was really good and I enjoyed it. Anyway, all right, let's move on. So coffee time. Topic number 2 is, when is the best time to buy in new construction? So I know that we've touched on this. I mean, we may have even talked about it. It may have been not even a topic, but I may have, may have worked my way around to it. But I think this is really important to note, because not only is the new construction still booming in Florida, but it is booming in Virginia as well. And the area in Central Florida, in and around the Richmond area, Mosley, Chesterfield, Amelia, all of those areas, I mean, absolutely getting ready to blow up with new construction. And so it's just some good information. And wherever you live, oh, this piece, no matter where you live, it might be the same thing. Like, you might not be looking to move or buy here. You might just hang out with me on Monday mornings because whatever. But if you were ever to think about it, if you were to see it in your own area, here's some things that I have over the years, and it's been a lot of years now that I've been doing this. And not only have I helped people buy new construction, but that I've helped them sell their new construction home while the builder was still selling. I've also had people buy in the beginning, in the middle, in the end of the community's development. I've had people sell in the beginning of the community and sell toward the end of it. And there's just a few little tips that I think would be good for you to know. So the first is that, if you remember in all of our conversations, the way new construction typically works, you will find that as a community first opens, their big grand opening, their big lot releases, that is the lowest those prices are going to be, in theory. But those are supposed to be the lowest those home prices are going to be. As they sell, as they start getting those little red dots on their site map representing sold, 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 even if the home is not built yet, right? But if they are selling, that means people are investing. People are excited about that community. That community is going to grow. And as those sales happen, the builder then, whatever their rule is, it could be 5 sales, 10 sales, 20 sales. I don't know what it is because it changes all the time. But as they hit a sales number marker, they increase that base price. So let's just say base price is $300,000 for the first 10 lots that are released. Once they sell those 10, that $300,000 base price now goes to $304,000, and then it goes to $308,000. And maybe the next time, now they're really cranking out sales, and now they're like, hey, you know what? Every 4 sales, we're going up 1,000, or every 4 sales, we're going up 2,000. Whatever their intermittent change is in that base price, it goes up and up and up. Now, when the market was super duper crazy, when there were people that were buying homes sight unseen in some cases, way above market value, bridging appraisal gaps, whatever the case was, that is when you would see, again, these new construction communities just boom, boom, boom. And there were cases, literally, I had clients that purchased new in the community, and by the time their home was built, because remember, if it takes 10 to 12 months to build a home, typically, depends on where you are, but let's just say 10 to 12 months, by the time their home was built, for a base price of $300,000, by the way, in Horizon West, very rare, you're not gonna find something at $300,000. That was just a number I'm throwing out there. But if the base price was $300,000, 10 to 12 months later, sometimes my clients moved in with like $40,000 worth of equity, but like as they moved in, because the prices had gone up so drastically, so quickly. Now, that was way back when. It's not like that anymore. The process and procedure is the same, where after X number of sales, they do these periodic price increases of that base price. Of course they do. It just doesn't escalate like that. And you might very well build a home and maybe they haven't even had a price increase since then. Or if they have, it's like 2000 or something. So there's no guarantee, but I can tell you this. You're more likely to see that equity grow when you opt to invest in a new community in the earlier stages and phases of development. As the community grows and as it gets toward the end or the closeout phases, sometimes you see these builders get very antsy and they're ready to get out of Dodge. They're ready to get out of the community. And now, unfortunately, and I have seen this several times, not every time, by the way, not every time, not every builder. This is not a blanket statement at all, but I have seen, and it has affected my clients looking to sell more than once, where at the end of a community's build out, when the builder is like, okay, we need to get out of here. We need to sell these last few. It's not even usually the last few lots. Usually if they've only got a handful of lots left, they just go ahead and inventory them. They go ahead and pick a floor plan. They pick the structurals, they pick the design, they build those houses, and they try to sell them all throughout that build process because they want to get out of there. They don't want you to be the last lot, and now they still have 10 more months for crews to be at that one community for that one house. So that's sometimes what the builders will do. They'll just go ahead and try to finish, speccing out. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's smart. That's fine. That's expected. But what happens sometimes, and again, I've seen this, I'm seeing this, is that when a builder is ready to cut strings on a community and move on because they've developed a beautiful, thriving community, by the way, it's gorgeous. No reflection on the builder's quality of build. But when the builder decides to slash prices, ridiculously so, and on top of a slashed price, offer closing cost incentives, the people that purchase that same floor plan all of a sudden gets a gut punch because all of a sudden their equity just went away. The builder was selling the same house now for, $450,000. And guess what? Now the builder's like, I just need to get out of here. So I'm going to go back to $399. Okay. It hit you hard. So the point of that conversation is, first of all, nothing is a guarantee. You can be the first one in the community. You can be the last one in the community. And we do not have a crystal ball, or if we do have one, if I had one, it is not working because I don't know. And you don't know, the builder doesn't know how a community is going to be received by buyers out there. But history has shown me in multiple cases, purchasing in the earlier phases of a community's build out can be more financially advantageous for equity than maybe being one of the last ones that you purchase in the community, unless you're purchasing that home that the builder just slashed. And this really has happened. And so nothing that we can do. It just is something for you to be aware of. And so I also then say, this is why new construction, we should do a whole topic about new construction. Except I don't know if that's interesting to you, but I love it. So, but the other thing is, if you are planning on living there forever, or at least for a long time, if this is going to be your primary residence and you're like, hey, I'm hanging out here. So if I take, it's like stocks. If I get a little bit of a hit and it doesn't look good for me for a while, I'm just going to wait. It'll come back around. If you are able to do that with your real estate investment, your specific property that you live in, then you'll be fine. But if you are someone who's like, hey, I'm going to buy early in the community and then I'm going to turn around and sell at the end, could be super awesome for you. Also could not be. So you just have to be really careful and thoughtful about that. Talk with your agent. Hopefully they've got a lot of good knowledge about that area. They can kind of tell you things that are coming that's going to make it continue to grow and maintain or increase the value, desirability of it. Things like that. So anyway, I hope that was helpful to you. But yeah, I literally have a couple of clients where they were, how do I say it politely? The builder did not do them a solid. Not them specifically, but the builder did not do all of those buyers that they had that had invested in their community to begin with. They did not do them a solid by, discounting and slashing prices at the end of a build out. And sometimes, by the way, sometimes they make those prices of those homes even higher because exclusivity now. It's your last chance to get in. It's your last chance to get in, this community of, whatever. And so then they will escalate those prices. They're like, hey, everyone wants to be here. You want to be in here? It's your last chance. And this is how high we're going to go with the price. So that happens too. It really just depends on, on the builder and on the community. So keep that in mind. All right, my friends, let's see what's going on over here. Anything happening? Anything happening? Nope, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Did I bore you already? Or were you were paying attention to me and you weren't chatting over here on the side? Thanks, guys. All right, let's move on to our third topic, which is, what is it? I don't know. This hair. Seriously, guys, I'm sorry. I know it must be so annoying to you too. Okay. Brewing 3, pre-approval options. Okay, so let's talk about some pre-approvals for a second. We talked about it before. I know we've talked about almost everything before, but this is, again, stems from real life situations. So when you are doing a pre-approval, whether this is going to be great information for you if it's you as the buyer or if it's you as the seller. So clean out those listening ears and listen. So if you are, there's two schools of thought here. One of them is that you get your pre-approval. Hey, Mr. and Miss Lender, we would like to purchase a home. We want to start the home hunt, the home search. What is it that we are approved to? What can we qualify for? What amount of a house can we safely be approved for? So you get the pre-approval, and let's say the pre-approval is for $600,000. That's your tip top. That's what the lender says. Hey, at this point, this is what we can loan you. This is what you're pre-approved for with all the supporting documents, credit search, blah, blah, blah. 600 is your pre-approval price. So then that's your pre-approval. And that is what you now provide to your realtor so that you can submit that with any offers. Or if you're the seller, that's the pre-approval that you've received with an offer. Okay. The second school of thought is to say, hey, lender, look, I know I'm approved for 600, but there's this house that I want. And, it's listed at 600, but we're going to offer 570. So could you go back and just make our pre-approval say 570 instead of the 600 that we're actually approved for? And so that's what you get. That's what you submit with your offer. And so now you've submitted your offer for a home that is priced at $600,000. Now keep in mind, you can afford $600,000, but you decided you wanted to submit $575, if that's what I just said. And then you get your pre-approval changed to $575 just for paper's sake, right? Just for the offer. You submit the offer and another offer comes in and somebody's like, well, we're approved to 600, but we're offering, 590. I don't know. I'm just spitting out numbers here. So here's the problem. The seller is, from a seller's perspective, you want to know that your potential buyer can absolutely afford your home. So if you're approved for 575, why are you necessarily submitting an offer for a home that's 600 if it is priced well? Okay. Not saying you can't. That's actually probably not the perfect example because it's just a smaller discrepancy. But point in fact, okay, so I have a listing and I had somebody that submitted an offer, and with the offer was their pre-approval. Now the offer price was, let's see, it was $45,000 under asking. Yeah. So it was $45,000 under asking, and we're actually priced pretty well. There's a little bit of flexibility, but not a lot. We're not cuckoo crazy. My sellers aren't cuckoo crazy. So we get an offer that comes in about $45,000 under asking. And with that, a message from their agent that says, hey, saw the home, showed the home to my clients. They loved it. We think it's really overpriced. So we're submitting an offer at this. Plus, literally, this is what the email said. Plus, this is the highest that my clients are pre-approved for. So he submits the offer with their pre-approval for an offer that's $45,000 under asking. So, well, no, right? Now, had the buyer had a pre-approval that said it was a little bit higher. Let's just say it was, you know, $25,000 or $30,000 higher than what they submitted to us. We as the sellers would have felt that they had flexibility and we could negotiate, because that was ridiculous to come in that far under asking. But because they said that's as high as they can go, the seller's like, well, then no, thank you. Moving on. And that's exactly what we did. And then the other agent's like, well, what could we come back with? I'm like, well, you said that was as high as your clients could go. So you've basically removed a conversation and a negotiation and a counter offer, because you've said this is as high as your clients can go. So where I'm going with this is understand the strategy behind what you're doing. And I do not have the perfect answer to every situation. At all. But there's a lot of things that are a little bit more commonsensical. Is that a word? Commonsensical about how this works. And if the offer had been, okay, so let's say it was $600,000 was the list price. And let's say you came in and you offered $590, and $590 was what your pre-approval was. There's at least a thought process there. It's not an immediate no. It's conversation worthy. And that's what we're trying to get at. Obviously, the buyer wants to go as low as they can possibly go to purchase the home. Obviously, the seller wants to go as high as they can possibly go to sell the home. That's the way it works. That's why the offer strategy matters. That's why your pre-approval matters. And candidly, that's why it is imperative to have a pre-approval and let your agent know what are we actually working with. Because if I had a client that was only pre-approved, and I say only, I mean a lot of daggone money, but if you're pre-approved for a specific amount, we may go, depending on our home search and the market and knowledge of that, we're not going to be looking at homes that are $50,000 above your pre-approval. I mean, if one comes up and you're like, okay, this home absolutely to die for. Amy, can you run some comps and just see, is this priced correctly or is it overpriced? Is it overpriced enough that maybe we can squeak it in our window of opportunity? Sure. Have we done that? 100%. But generally speaking, you shouldn't be viewing homes that are substantially above your real life pre-approval amount. Substantially above. Above, yes, because there might be some negotiation in there for sure. But you just have to understand what you're dealing with and let your agent guide you there, because, you know, you don't want to miss opportunities of being able to get a fantastic home for what you can afford. Of course, that's everybody's goal. But the other thing is to have a realistic expectation of what you're trying to find. And all of that time and energy was wasted because, you know, then they're upset that we're not like countering. I'm like, well, we're not in the realm of a conversation because you said and you submitted, this is the pre-approval as high as they can go, even though it's 45,000 under what we're asking. And even if we came down, let's just say 10,000, which could happen. If we came down 10,000, that's still substantially above where their pre-approval was. So that's why there's no conversation. And what that does is it can bite you in the butt, because either two things are happening. Number one, you actually are only approved for X amount and you were looking at something that was a little bit higher than what you can afford, or you're lying and you can afford more. Your realtor knows you can afford more, but they've misguided the conversation, and that comes back to bite you. Because now what happens if the buyer's agent says, well, what if we can go up another 15? Well, what does that do to the seller and the seller's agent? I'm like, you submitted a pre-approval of this amount and you specifically said this is as high as you can go. How am I going to have confidence that you can miraculously come up with another 15,000? Do you see? Right? So there's a lot of thought. You know, I'm just saying, a realtor who knows their stuff and does things and has had experiences might have a different perspective on some of these situations. And that's why it's important when you have your agent to talk about that, talk about the strategy or the potential ramifications of submitting an offer this way as opposed to this way. Because at the end of the day, what did Eric always tell us? What are you trying to accomplish? That's really the name of the game. You love the house, you want the house, then we work towards submitting an offer that's going to achieve that goal. You have a house you want to sell, then we have to work toward doing exactly that. And sometimes that hurts. Sometimes selling your house hurts. The reality of what the value is because of what the market is doing hurts. It's nothing against you. It's nothing against your house. Your house is still pretty. It's about the other elements that surround it that have an effect on it that we can't control. So anyway, so there you go, my friends. Those were our topics today. All right, anything else happening? Susan, you're late. Things went nuts here at 9 a.m. That's okay. At least you made it. You've missed this piece of hair that's been driving me nuts all morning. Da, 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 da. And then Jay says you should be able to get both. Most good loan officers will customize a pre-approval for you. Yes, no, they will for sure, and that's what I mean. You can have your pre-approval for your full amount, and then sometimes you will request one because that's what you're offering, because you want it to look like this is my pre-approval specifically done for this property, which I think way back in the day before I was a part of real estate, way back in the day before computers and all this fun snazzy jazzy stuff. That's what you would do. You would go house hunting first. Then you would go see if you could afford the home. And then you would get the pre-approval to show that you could afford the home. Now it's just different. And so, yeah, you can have multiple. I mean, the lender I work with all the time, he can give you 5 different letters if that's what you want, but he's not going to give you one above what you're approved for. But if you want to submit one specifically for what that house is worth, that is where, depending on your area and your market, it could backfire on you. And I'm not saying it will, but I'm saying it could. And so that strategy matters. I know a lot of people's mentality is like, well, I don't want them to know I can afford the full price of the house, because then they're just going to counter back to that. Well, what are you trying to accomplish? If the house is worth what it's listed at, we can still negotiate, and we can maybe get it for a little bit under, or we can find some other sort of concession or something to make it work for you. But downgrading your pre-approval to trick the seller may just backfire. So it's really all encompassing. It's not so easy breezy. There's a lot of thought that goes behind it, and not every situation or every contract or home buying or home selling journey is the same, which is why you need to make sure that you've got somebody that's well versed in all the different ways that things can happen. So anyway, okay. Tracy, the ultimate decisions rest with the buyer, but the professional support from a real estate agent, lender, home insurance agent helps so much. That's why you're our agent. Yeah, Tracy, you're going to like yourself in a little bit, baby. You're going to be on wishes. So excited. But yes, I mean, it can be, the whole thing is challenging. The whole thing is emotional. And for anyone who says it's not emotional, I call your bluff, because there is some emotion involved in it. But the main thing is just making sure that we're all working toward achieving whatever that goal is that you have, whether you're the seller or whether you're the buyer. In this case, talking about pre-approvals, we're talking about the buyer. So, okay, let's move on, because as usual, I just talk so daggone much. All right, let's move on to secret. Okay, this is it. This is again, true story, real life situation. I'm pulling that out a little bit. So this is my apology. Now, so I tell you everything. I'm very transparent. I received a phone call from a former client who had referred me to someone last year, and they had just reached out to tell me, it's a long story, I'm not going to get too involved in it, but basically I had sent them an email with an attachment that they could use for their taxes, and I try to send that out this time of year, just, hey, you're gathering your tax documents, you might need this from the purchase or the sale of your home this past year. That's how it started. But then it was a phone call, and ultimately, I mean, I'm not mad at the phone call, but the phone call was expressing disappointment in me, and the way I serviced, I guess, the referral that they had, because their experience with me was when Eric was here. It was just a very, very different time. It was years ago. And that the referral that they had given me was a family member, and it was new construction. and they were very basically, I guess, upset. I never knew that. I mean, if you know anything about me, I just want everyone to be happy. So if someone is not happy, that's all I can think about. It just consumes me. And then I just belabor the point over and over and over again. I beat myself up over it. I'm going back through all of my text messages going, I don't understand. Like I got them to do this. I got them to release the lot. I got them to let them repick structural options. Oh my gosh, that was the biggest win ever. I got them to do this. We did Zoom call. We had phone calls. I guided them through every part of the process at the beginning. I was going to be on the pre-construction meeting. I think for whatever reason, I said, just call, tag me into that call when it gets scheduled. I mean, nobody's expressed any disappointment or being upset. Keep in mind, this was happening in February and Eric passed away in January. So I'm going to tell everyone, this just basically prompted me to perhaps give a blanket apology for anyone that was with me in 2025 that was buying or selling a house. If for any reason you felt like you were not getting the Amy that you were expecting, I would just hope that you would understand. So it hurts my heart if there was something you expected me to do that I didn't, or if there was something that I fell short on, but I didn't know. I mean, good gracious. All I tried to do was go and take care of everybody and deal with what I was dealing with. And it wasn't a mean phone conversation, but it did make me feel like, you know what I was going through. A little bit of grace would have been nice, but it's okay, because that made me decide that I wanted to offer you an apology for any of you that may have been a client during, well, honestly, forever at this point, because, I mean, I am a different person now. But if you were with me in 2025, and if there was anything that happened that you just felt like, oh, well, I was expecting more, please accept my apology and understand that I think I was in survival mode. I still am. And it wasn't intentional. But I love you guys with my whole heart. So there you go. There's my apology. Now I have to keep going because I have a phone call at 10 o'clock. Well, I pushed it to 10:15 because I know me. I know you. All right, let's keep going because I can't keep crying. All right, let's go to wishes. Okay. Wiping the eyes. Okay. All right. So big congratulations. Steve and Deb are closing on their home this Friday. Super excited. They purchased a resale home in a beautiful area in Claremont. Oh my gosh, Amy. Jeff and Karen, fingers crossed. You're probably going to see Jeff and Karen's name come up a few times. I adore them. They're repeat clients of mine. And we submitted an offer, or no, we were going to submit an offer, and then we did not. And then because there was a multiple offer situation, some other details that are irrelevant. But anyway, and then the listing agent of the property my clients were considering purchasing, she called me last night. She's like, well, the other people decided they weren't going to submit their offer either. They had submitted one, but they took it back. And so I was like, okay, well, so anyway, so we're kind of back and forth. So I don't know if anything's going to happen for them right now, but I know in my heart we're going to find the perfect one. And Tracy and Bruce, oh my gosh. So there are people that just, the journey and the experience getting to that point of contracting is just so overwhelmingly joyful. And I am truly so excited for you. Like, I'm grateful that I get to be a part of it in any way, whether it's a quick phone call to go over some concerns or questions, or whether it's coordinating with the builder's site rep to make sure that we're first on that list for that lot release, wink, wink. Things like that. It is just, it just makes me so happy to just be this small little sprinkle in your magnificent journey. So super, super, super excited about Tracy and Bruce. So yes, we should probably go over our next steps. Anything else that you guys might want to. But anyway, all right, let me keep going. What else do we have? Scoop. Okay, so just as a reminder, we appreciate you guys so much. So if you haven't, there's some new videos that are out. You may or may not have seen them. Actually, today I've got some more video production happening today. So just there's some videos out there. So if you're so inclined, maybe you got the day off, maybe you could do me a favor and go to the YouTube channel and find some of the videos that you may not have watched and watch them. We sure could use your help, and especially some of the newer ones. Anything on Heart and Home Richmond, there's not as many there, and that's okay. Heart and Home Orlando is the focus right now, so it's just trying to get something else started on the side. So anyway, all right, let's see, what else do I have? Spotlight. So our listing, this is a bungalow with Toll Brothers over at West Haven at Ovation, there in the Ovation Village in Horizon West, just right around, I cried all over my stupid glasses, right around the corner from the back entrance at Disney there on Western Way. 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, a little over 1,900 square feet, currently listed at $625. This is literally across the street from the amenity center. I think could be an amazing thing, because depending on how you utilize the home, again, this is not short-term rental, this is purely residential. But depending on how you choose to use the home, what a great location if it ends up being your own private vacation home, because you've got all the amenities literally across the street from you, and you can just enjoy your bungalow rear entry garage. And it does have a detached garage, as you can see there in that middle picture at the bottom. They have that area screened in, and then you still have some uncovered lanai space or outdoor space where if you wanted to put a grill or some chairs or something like that, you can do that. Anyway, so that's our listing for today, spotlight listing. And then we also still have, there's the bungalow we just referenced. We have the beautiful Winter Garden gated community over in Tilden Place. This one has had a revolving door of people, and everybody loves it. It is absolutely amazing. So I know an offer is coming. It just has to resonate with the right person, but it is beautiful. Windermere Townhome. This one again is across from Disney cast member parking. So this is, and it's an end unit, which is really, really, really nice, priced really well. We also have another Winter Garden gated. This is Lakeview Preserve. This is a Taylor Morrison home. The Tortola floor plan, my gosh, it's gorgeous. It's also on a corner home site, a large 75-foot wide home site. Beautiful, beautiful home. Bottom left, Winter Garden Horizon West. This is Encore Innovation, also by MI Homes, another big, beautiful home. No rear neighbor, super deep backyard, plenty of room for a pool, and it backs up to conservation. And then, of course, that golden gem of the 55 plus community, Del Webb Oasis, is a beautiful villa, the one on the right side, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. It has a flex space, gorgeous custom built-in closets and marble flooring, and it's just exquisite. So those are the listings. Oh, I have to zoom.
Oh, now come on, Amy, tell me what's the word.
Okay, discretion. Okay, so what I mean by this is use discretion when you are touring houses, because the way that we live now, almost everybody has some sort of a camera, video recording, doorbell, right? Most everybody has cameras. Maybe they've even got cameras in their house that records from time to time. Just assume, and this is what I tell my clients, when you walk into a home, assume that you are under surveillance. The sellers are entitled to have those cameras, and they are entitled to have those Ring doorbells, and that's their home, right? So they are entitled to that. So you just need to use a little bit of discretion when you're in the home, and remember what you're saying. Somebody else may hear it. Now, that doesn't mean you can't just speak freely, of course. But you may not want to talk offer strategy right there at the doorbell when they're listening to everything. That's what I mean. Because sometimes that can backfire. And I have had sellers go, well, I heard that agent when they were showing the home. I mean, I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but you get the notification and it pops up live automatically. Somebody's dropping off a package. You watch them drop the package off. Somebody's walking out, locking the door, and they're like, yeah, I think it's overpriced by X amount. Well, just be careful what you're saying. That's all. But just assume in the world that we live in that that when you're touring homes, that maybe have that conversation about your true thoughts or feelings, especially if it's one that you want. If you don't want it, that's okay. Just be nice and say, yeah, I like it, but probably not the one. But if it's one that you really like, maybe just talk with your agent, safe distance from the doorbell, and then that way you can kind of let your true feelings known, and then that will give your agent a little bit more ability to have some leverage. If the seller already knows you love it and you're willing to give them your firstborn child for it, you kind of lost your you lost your leverage there. Okay, all right, let's see. I got to keep going because we're almost done. Okay, so I've actually been watching other stuff, but I put this one up because I know you're sure you all watch the news. James Van Der Beek passed away, and honestly, I don't know why it hit me, because I was not of the Dawson's Creek generation. I was much older at that point when the series was out. However, you know that my son's name is Dawson, so everyone inevitably thinks he's named after the Dawson's Creek. Just like my oldest son, Forrest, like, oh, Forrest Gump's like, no. It was a great-great-grandfather's name was Forrest. It was just it's a family name. And Dawson, no family name. I just really liked the name, but I liked the name as a standalone. I didn't like the name because it was affiliated with Dawson's Creek. However, I did. I absolutely did watch the series, at least a little bit of it, when I was pregnant with Dawson, because I wanted to make sure that if there was ever any name association, that the character of Dawson in Dawson's Creek was a good one. I know that sounds silly, but I didn't want anyone to go, oh, your name is whatever, and then immediately go to this like horror, like, killer character or something. I wanted to make sure this Dawson character was like, he's cool. So anyway, because of that, I kind of popped the series back on. I think I told you I like to go to sleep with laughter or something. And I was like, you know what, when I go to bed at night, I'm just going to put that on. And it's been fun kind of, I'm not really paying attention to it, but like every once in a while, I'll have a cup of coffee when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, just go sit in bed for a minute and put the massager on my neck and watch an episode or something. But anyway, because James Van Der Beek passed away, I just thought it would be, it kind of carried a little bit of double meaning there. Also, seeing some of the pictures of James felt eerily familiar with Eric and what cancer can do to you there toward the end. So there was a little bit of unintentional connection when I saw some of those photos. But anyway, so there's lots of things to watch. Still watching the Olympics, of course. But I just figured I'd throw this one up there for today. All right. One more baby. Okay, so here's just a couple of pictures. I think I have better pictures, but I don't know. I thought these were cute. So there's Mr. Easton. He was out at a playground with his little ducky. I love it when just a random little toy can become like all of a sudden the thing that they can't live without. And I think I was at a CVS one day and I just grabbed it and gave it to him, and he carries it with him everywhere. So he loves it. So he was at the playground. Look at that sweet face. And then little Miss Elsie, so grown up now, she's apparently loves cereal. So she'll have her Cheerios with some milk, and she's such a big girl. She likes to eat that. So I thought I would just share those couple of pictures. It's so fun. They're just such fun stages. They're getting ready to come up on their second birthday here in the next couple of months. So it's just really fun to kind of see them grow and thrive and be so smart and so healthy and so happy. So kudos to their mamas and daddies for that. All right. So by the way, guys, I don't want to ignore. You guys are very sweet. Your intentions and heart are golden. I love you. Thank you, Susan. I love you too. Rhonda, you're human and can't be all things to all people. 2025 was a hard year. You went through a great heartbreak, and some people just don't understand. Agreed. Melody, what Rhonda says, oh, my mama bear raised her head. I love you guys. And then, of course, Daryl, the big brother side of me wants to say your clients, what the is wrong with you? Have grace. You have the best realtor in the world. You flipping. Okay, I'll chill. Well, first of all, thank you guys. And I honestly didn't say that to have anyone do exactly what you did. I honestly did it because it brought something to the forefront of, candidly, everybody else that I sent the email to with the same document was like, oh my God, that's awesome, Amy, thanks. That's so helpful. Like literally a total different reaction, but for whatever reason, and it is valid on their part, I am not going to discount their emotions. Who would I be if I did that? I took it to heart. And so therefore I've given a bigger apology to the masses. And it is heartfelt, and I am sorry, but I also feel like, could be, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all, is the way I was raised. And in this particular situation, knowing that my entire year, my entire life was flipped upside down, and I still was trying to navigate, figure out how to deal with what you do when your spouse passes and still try to be a good agent to my clients, always working in their best interest. Maybe I didn't, maybe I wasn't at closing. Maybe I didn't get to go to the final walkthrough. And I pride myself on being able to do those things, or I used to be able to do them all the time. But, there's just some things I know I fell short on. So again, the apology is genuine and heartfelt, and I appreciate you guys making me feel a little bit better about it, because it makes my heart happy. Anyway, all right, with that, I love you guys. This piece of hair, what do you think? Piece of hair. I think we're going to go cut it off. All right, guys, as always, you know that I love you. If you are interested in anything, if you want to chat about anything, it doesn't have to be real estate. Just give me a call, 407-848-8042. If you're on the Virginia side, 757-329-0055. As always, you know that I just adore each of you. I appreciate you for being a part of my family, and I desperately need you. So please come back every Monday and hang out with me for a little bit, because it starts my week off not quite so alone. So I love you guys. As always, please stay safe, stay well. Remember, I love you. Have a great week, everybody, and I will see you next. Oh, where's the end button? There it is. I'll see you next week on Monday. Oh, and happy President's Day. Go do something nice out there. Go do a random act of kindness, and take a moment to appreciate those that created this country, and pray for it to be a good one. Love you guys. Bye.